Okay, so Saw number 7, the final chapter. It is also Saw number 7. It's directed by Kevin Grutart, the guy who did the last movie. Saw 7 is also advertised as the final chapter, which that's kind of a lie because they came out with Jigsaw. This one starts out with Larry from Saw number 1 getting out of the trap, which, you know, you kind of assume that he died, but he got out. The first real, like, trap or whatever was one that was on public display. Starts out with these two people on a storefront or whatever, and that's when the game begins. And this whole time, logistically, this movie made the least amount of sense, because how would people not notice someone setting up this trap in a window? Granted, there could have been like a curtain or something, but you would think that, I don't know, it just didn't make any sense how this would be set up. And then people only just kind of starting to notice once the game actually begins. You would think that people would probably be crowding in, wondering what's going on, especially like these two people that are asleep. I mean, I guess they could assume that they're like mannequins possibly, but what a weird setup. I don't know, it's just, these are the things I think about. But I did like that during that scene people had their cell phones out. Granted, there were flip phones back then, but people were recording, which I think a lot of this film had a lot of social commentary kind of stuff, which I thought that was kind of cool. And you know, these people are filming just like today, you know, people with their smartphones, they will be filming, and no one really helping, they're just recording it the whole time. It's one of those situations that we just need to record everything and not really act. What we're watching is difficult to watch, but we still keep watching it. It's kind of like these Saw movies. These Saw movies are torture to watch. They're very difficult to watch, but we just keep watching them. I mean, look what I'm doing right now, you know? I like in this one that they had like a survivor circle or whatever. However, we only witnessed in the previous films one of those people, which was the girl who won the Scream Queens contest. This is the one that the guy from Linkin Park is in, number 7. So I thought it was interesting that his character was a racist, also like a commentary kind of thing. I'd say this one probably had the most disturbing game. I don't know if it's most disturbing, but it's one of the most disturbing ones in a while. The lady with the fishing wire in her, down like her throat and pulling it out. And I mean, I know that this is all acting, but that's like good acting, because I could feel the fishing wire in my throat as I'm watching it. So I thought that was pretty cool. This one did feature season 2 Scream Queens winner. There's Tum Tum. She played the girl that was the guy from Linkin Park's girlfriend. She got her face crushed by a tire. Overall, I did like this one. It did tie up the loose ends. This very well could have been the last movie. I think it ended well because there was a conclusion to everything. All this crazy stuff is revealed and happens in the last 10 minutes or so, and this one was just like, what is happening? But I'd say this one's probably the middle of the pack for me. I enjoyed watching it. I'm kind of thinking about making this like a tradition where I'll just, every October, I'll watch all the movies again. Maybe my opinion on each one will change, because I remember when I watched part 7 before, I absolutely hated it, and now I don't really hate it. It's not the best, but yeah, I had fun watching it. I mean, even number 4, which one was just almost awful. It was fun to watch just so I could make fun of it. So I guess there's that. And now Jigsaw. Jigsaw is number 8. And for the longest time I thought it was a prequel, and then I was like, oh, it's not a prequel. But spoiler alert, hopefully you have watched Jigsaw by now. If not, turn off. This takes place before, but this stuff isn't revealed until the last 15 minutes. So this whole time it goes back and forth between like 15 years to like present day. I watched it with my friend Jana, and we were just like, what is even happening right now? And especially in the last little bit, it was just all this information and all this conclusion. It was so like just so insane. This one has a different director. This one's directed by Peter and Michael Spierig, the Spierig brothers, and I feel like is the only Saw film that is kind of a standalone. I don't know, I don't recommend watching this one before you watch the Saw movies. Watch them in the order that they came out. If you watch that one first, it would actually be confusing, even though it's a prequel. And I feel like all the Saw films, in a sense, could be a standalone, but this one is a standalone separate from those. If that makes sense. It probably doesn't. I really missed a lot of the aspects that made the other Saw movies kind of special. They seemed more cinematic, and I kind of miss like the blue and green hues that you see in a lot of the other Saw films. And the pictures was a lot clearer, and like the pictures was a lot clearer. Okay, the picture was a lot clearer, and I don't know. I missed a lot of the aspects of the Saw movies. That's why I feel like this one is a standalone, because it is different than the other ones. This one took place with like a group of people, which is the ones I really like, rather than like the person going through a maze, which I feel like is like every other one. This one had a person that didn't wake up, and I was like, oh, that's awesome, because it just shows how there could be errors, just like how I said in the last video that, you know, Jigsaw was like, there could be errors, I just let everything play out. I thought that was kind of cool, but then it's revealed why that person was asleep later on. But at the time I was like, this is great! Of course, there's shenanigans that happen because of a sleeping security guard. There's always a sleeping security guard, and that's how like the bad guys can infiltrate something. And I was like, this of course, it's like all these horror cliches, all these cliches are happening. And I don't know, I was laughing a whole lot at parts I probably shouldn't have laughed at. Maybe they were supposed to be like funny because they're ridiculous, but I was impressed that this one had lasers, which I was impressed, but I didn't like that it had lasers because it just didn't go with the flow of the other Saw movies. The other Saw movies are so like gritty, and even Jonna had said, you know, they make you feel dirty, and this one was just very clean. And I mean, it was still very gory, but it just was different. And I was like, it's pretty impressive that, you know, Jigsaw or whatever can have these like lasers, but he still uses little tape recorders. I just thought that was kind of funny. I didn't like the laser aspect. It was too new technology. And as I'm watching this, you know, Jigsaw is alive because it's a prequel, whatever, but he looks very attractive. I was like, he looks very healthy and very cute. He's wearing this like black shirt. He's a hunky old man. Before it's revealed that it takes place before Saw 1, Jonna was like, it's somebody in a skin suit, and I was like, yeah, I actually kind of believe that. The mail's here. There's one part where John says tissue, but he says tissue, and I thought it was the funniest thing ever. Like, I've never heard anybody say tissue, and so now I want to say that all the time. I like Jigsaw, and of course they leave it open whether they could make more. I don't want them to, because I just don't want them to, but at the same time I want to, because I mean I will watch it regardless, so it doesn't matter. I'm giving them my money. But every time these loose ends are tied up, they come up with something else. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the times the scripts, they do a good job of keeping the story going, but at the same time I feel like they just kind of like poop on a script and just like, this is gold, let's put it out. Definitely have enjoyed watching them. And I love the films more than I did, you know, back in the day, which was a Tuesday. Dane Cook reference. They opened an escape room in Las Vegas, and they actually had Tobin Bell come and like kind of check it out, and I think they have like legit props and stuff in there, and I would love to do that. So comment down below if you want to go with me to Las Vegas to go do the escape room. We don't have to do anything else, we can just leave after that, that's fine. No, I was kidding. I love Las Vegas, and I would want to stay there for longer than that. I feel like 1 should be my favorite. 1 is definitely the cheesiest one of them all. Could potentially be my number 1, but for right now, It's Saw 3, Saw 2, Saw 1. Then Saw 5. Gosh, these middle ones are kind of, I'm not really sure about. 7, 5, and Jigsaw. Okay, so I can't decide which ones, but I'm gonna say Saw 3, Saw 2, Saw 1, Saw 5, 7, Jigsaw, 6, and number 4. Like, regardless of how I rank it right now, 4 is the bottom. I think that's all I want to say. Thank you for watching all these little things with me, and I'm going to be doing a subscriber shout out probably in the next video or sometime in November coming up. Also, happy Halloween, by the way. Hope y'all have a safe night. Stay out of trouble. Don't TP houses or whatever, because that's just rude. My hat. But yeah, happy Halloween. I'll see you in November. And you are beautiful. And you are loved.
And I want to play a game.
Cool. Holt is trying to climb up my leg. Oh my gosh, my pants are gonna fall down.